Hello, good morning. Wednesday, January 8th. And as we continue with the Course in Miracles, continuing to do one lesson per day and one section from the text per day. So today is lesson 8, and lesson 8, lesson 7 yesterday. We were working with the idea that I see only the past, and lesson 7 from yesterday, I see only the past. It says this idea is particularly difficult to believe, yet it is the rationale for all the preceding ones. So very interesting that lesson 7 sums up the first 6 lessons, and also that 7 numerically or esoterically is the number of completion. And so the first 7 lessons are summed up by the idea that I see only the past. When I look at the world, when I look at any objects in the world, I am asked to consider the idea that I see only the past in those objects, that my encounter with the objects in my environment is based on the past, is based on my memory, which makes perfect sense, of course. Now today, lesson 8, we continue with the idea that I see only the past. And today, lesson 8 says, my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. And so we're continuing with the idea here that my thoughts create my experience, which is not an idea that is really outside of any sort of normal metaphysical teaching or spiritual teaching. That is an idea that is routinely in this time and place encountered, the idea that my thoughts are creating my experience. So it is a part of the Course in Miracles, and here in lesson 8, as we start a new series of thoughts to practice throughout the day, we hit upon the idea that my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. And the workbook says this idea is, of course, the reason why you see only the past. No one really sees anything. He sees only his thoughts projected outward. Again, we've all probably encountered that idea in one form or another. It continues, the mind's preoccupation with the past is the cause of the misconception about time from which your seeing suffers. So the Course in Miracles, of course, goes a little bit deeper here and starts to link this with ideas of time. And it says you have to, we're learning to change our conception of the idea of time. Your mind cannot grasp the present, which is the only time there is. It therefore cannot understand time and cannot, in fact, understand anything. So this is one of the reasons I love the Course in Miracles, and I love talking about the Course in Miracles, is because it is really hardcore. You know, it follows this line of reasoning, and it builds upon very simple ideas at the beginning, and then it goes deeper and deeper and deeper with those ideas until finally you get a sentence like I cannot understand time and cannot, in fact, understand anything. Brilliant. The one wholly true thought one can hold about the past is that it is not here. To think about it at all is therefore to think about illusions. Very few have realized what is actually entailed in picturing the past or in anticipating the future. The mind is actually blank when it does this because it is really not thinking about anything. And so, again, the introduction of the idea here that in general and most of the time, I am not thinking about anything. My mind is actually blank. If I'm not thinking the thoughts that I should be thinking with God, or that I am not thinking godly thoughts, I am actually thinking about nothing. My mind is actually blank. The purpose of the exercises for today is to begin to train your mind to recognize when it is not really thinking at all. While thoughtless ideas preoccupy your mind, the truth is blocked. Recognizing that your mind has been merely blank rather than believing that it is filled with real ideas is the first step to opening the way to vision. So I have to admit something to myself, and what I have to admit, and when it says myself, in this instance, of course, it is talking about the ego mind, the part of the mind that believes it is separate from God. And I have to confront that part of my mind with the idea that it really doesn't know how to think. Later in the course, it calls the ego mind very clever and very inventive. But here we're starting with the basic idea that the ego mind doesn't really know anything. And the exercise for today centers around saying to myself, I seem to be thinking about blank. I seem to be thinking about paying the electric bill. I seem to be thinking about getting my car repaired. I seem to be thinking about the date I'm going to have in a couple of days. I seem to be thinking about the name of a person, the name of an object, the name of an emotion, and so on, it says, which it calls mind searching. So I'm searching my mind for the thoughts that are passing through my mind, passing through my ego mind, that are concerned with the activities of the day. And then I'm concluding with the thought for the day, which is, but my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. I seem to be thinking about going to the grocery store. I seem to be thinking about getting my hair cut. I seem to be thinking about taking a shower. I seem to be thinking about preparing my lunch, but my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. And it suggests that this can be done 4 or 5 times during the day, unless you find it irritates you. And again, this is the ego mind, which is going to be irritated. The ego mind, the mind of separateness, the mind of selfishness, the mind of self-centeredness is the mind that is going to be irritated. If you find it trying 3 or 4 times is sufficient, you might find it helpful, however, to include your irritation or any emotion that the idea for today may induce in the mind searching itself. I seem to be irritated as I think about doing this practice, as I think about the workbook for A Course in Miracles. I seem to be irritated, but my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. So there is the practice of the workbook. There is the theory included in the text. The idea with the workbook is to make the theory practical, to embody the theory, to embody a new way of thinking, a new way of perceiving myself and others in the world. So we go to the text, and as we read one section of the text, one section of the text per day corresponding to one workbook lesson for the day, This is the 8th section of the book, which is the 8th section of the text, which is the first section of the second chapter. The first chapter, 7 sections. The 8th section is the first section of the second chapter. Wonderful. And the second chapter is called The Separation and the Atonement. These are 2 states of mind that I can occupy, that can be occupied. A separate state of mind, or a state of oneness, or at oneness, or atonement. And section 1 is called The Origins of Separation. And as usual, when going through the text for A Course in Miracles, it is absolutely mind-blowing, in my opinion. It's craziness to read this. It says, to extend is a fundamental aspect of God, which he gave to his Son. In the creation, God extended himself to his creations and imbued them with the same loving will to create. In other words, according to the Bible, I am created in the image and likeness of God. I and the Father are one. And of course, here it's talking about thought. It's positioning that idea of God and as myself as thought. God is thought. God is the universal thought. God is the universal mind. I am a thought in the mind of God. God's Son, in this conception, according to the Course in Miracles, is the entirety of creation. The Son is not just one person. The Son is all of us together. That is the concept of the Son, of the child, of the creation. That which proceeded from the source, that which is the second, coming from the first, is symbolized as the Son. Okay? You have not only been fully created, but have also been created perfect. There is no emptiness in you because of your likeness to your Creator. You are creative. No child of God can lose this ability because it is inherent in what he is, but he can use it inappropriately by projecting. The inappropriate use of extension, the extension of love, the extension of the truth, the inappropriate use of extension or projection, calling the inappropriate use of extension projection, occurs when you believe that some emptiness or lack exists in you and that you can fill it with your own ideas instead of the truth. The process involves the following steps, and these 4 steps here are extremely important. Extremely important. First, the process of substituting projection for extension involves the following steps. First, you believe that what God created can be changed by your own mind. Second, you believe that what is perfect can be rendered imperfect or lacking. Third, you believe that you can distort the creations of God, including yourself. And fourth, you believe that you can create yourself and that the direction of your own creation is up to you. Okay, so as it goes on to say, this is called by the Course in Miracles, the detour into fear, or more biblically or classically called the fall. The detour into fear is characterized by the idea that what God created can be changed by my own mind, that what God created perfect can be made imperfect, that I believe I can distort God's creations, and that I believe I created myself, okay, in my own, the direction of my own creation is up to me. These are all beliefs that are held by the ego mind, or the portion of my mind that believes it's separate from God. It says these related distortions represent a picture of what actually occurred in the separation, or the quote unquote detour into fear. None of this existed before the separation, nor does it actually exist now. Thus, the idea that what I see is an illusion, that I am dreaming a dream, that this, in current vernacular, is a simulation. Am I in a simulation? Yes, I'm in a simulation, so to speak. Many of the Eastern spiritual teachings call it an illusion, right? Maya, the illusion created by the mind. Everything God created is like him. Extension, as undertaken by God, is similar to the inner radiance that the children of the Father inherit from him. Its real source is internal. This is as true of the Son as it is of the Father. Therefore, it is as true in me as it is true in you. The fact that there's an inner radiance, that there's an inner extension of the attributes of God. This is often seen as anathema. This is seen as, I can't think of the correct word, but to some traditional Christians, of course, the idea expressing the idea that even though Jesus said it, the Father and I are one, of course, extending that idea to myself or to you is a point of contention. It does seem to, contribute to that sense of irritation we were talking about earlier. In this sense, the creation includes both the creation of the Son by God and the Son's creation when his mind is healed. In other words, we're here to extend creation. I'm here to extend creation. You're here to extend creation through thought. Thanks for the likes, you guys. Just tap the screen if you get a chance. We'll get some more likes in here. Of course, that helps. I appreciate it. Oh, Beth the Sybil, thank you. I appreciate it. And let's do one more paragraph here, and we'll call it a day. The Garden of Eden. Beth the Sybil figured out how to work the like button. That is fantastic. Way to go. The Garden of Eden, or the pre-separation condition, was a state of mind. The Garden of Eden was a state of mind, is a state of mind, in which nothing was needed. When Adam listened to the quote-unquote lies of the serpent, all he heard was untruth. You do not have to continue to believe what is not true unless you choose to do so. All that can literally disappear in the twinkling of an eye because it is merely a misperception. What is seen in dreams seems to be very real. Yet the Bible says that deep sleep fell upon Adam, and nowhere is there reference to his waking up. I think that's true. I think I've looked for that in the book of Genesis before, and I think that's a true statement. The world has not yet experienced any comprehensive reawakening or rebirth. And of course, I think the key word there is comprehensive, because if you agree with me, and if you're into spiritual TikTok, if you're into spiritual talk, you know that the world is starting to experience this rebirth or reawakening. I really think it is underway. It's always been underway, and it seems to be gathering some momentum. Such a rebirth is impossible as long as you continue to project or miscreate. It still remains within you, however, to extend as God extended his spirit to you. In reality, this is your only choice because your free will was given you for your joy in creating the perfect. So, just a quick summary there of the workbook lesson for the day, and also reading from the text of Course in Miracles for the day. You can find all of this online. If you don't have the book, you can go to ACIM, Course in Miracles, acim.org. That is the website of the Foundation for Inner Peace, which is the publisher for A Course in Miracles. And you can read everything we're talking about, and you can start to work the workbook lessons. What we're trying to do, of course, is wake up from the dream that we have, the sleep we have imposed upon ourselves. And if you're on the spiritual path, you understand that's what's going on. You understand that's what's happening. The Course in Miracles, as it states itself, is just one way to do this. So every morning while we do this, of course, there are many other paths, and we're all headed to the same destination. We're all headed home, and there are many different paths to achieve this. It's just that in this case, I'm using Course in Miracles as the source material, as the basis, the starting place for the discussion. Thanks, everybody, for coming through. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by. And you can stop by. We're here every morning, Central Time, 11 a.m. And following the live, I do download this and then upload it to YouTube. So you can find the entire discussion on my YouTube channel. That is SVC2011 at Sierra Victor Charlie 2011 on YouTube. And I think the way to do that is you can go to each one of those lives, and I would just randomly click on one of them and randomly click in the 20 or 25 minutes that are uploaded there and see what comes up. See what sort of spiritual roulette, what sort of idea you encounter when you do that. Remember to follow me here on TikTok, follow me on YouTube, and follow me as I begin to spread myself out to the other platforms, Instagram, X. You will find me over there. I'm going to try to get everything under the same name, which it isn't at this point, but then you can follow me on the other platforms. I appreciate you being here today, and hope to see you tomorrow or sometime later in the week. Peace and blessings. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.